Most people think financial success comes from making more money, getting promoted, or increasing income. But there's a hidden problem. Some households can earn $60,000, $120,000, even $300,000 per year and still remain financially fragile. Why, you may ask? Because income alone does not create resilience. What matters is how efficiently surplus gets converted into liquidity, optionality, productive assets, and future flexibility. In this video, we're going to analyze one of the most important concepts in the entire series, surplus conversion efficiency. Because the difference between financial stress and financial freedom often has less to do with income and more to do with where surplus actually goes. A lot of people assume high income automatically means financial strength, but structurally, that's often false. Let's compare two households. Household A has income of $250,000. Every surplus dollar goes toward luxury vehicles, larger mortgage payments, lifestyle upgrades, expensive vacations, recurring subscriptions, and higher fixed obligations. Household B, income is $120,000. Surplus gets directed toward emergency reserves, productive investments, debt reduction, liquidity, and flexibility preservation. Now ask yourself, which household is actually stronger? The answer is the household that converts surplus into resilience, not appearances. This is where personal finance becomes systems engineering. Because money flowing through a household behaves like energy moving through a system. And systems can either dissipate energy or store and deploy it productively. Most people think surplus simply means money left over. But from a systems perspective, surplus is something much more important. Surplus is stored future optionality. It represents future decision-making power. Every dollar of surplus can be converted into resilience, productive capacity, reduced fragility, or future income generation. Or it can be consumed immediately. That distinction changes everything, because every household continuously makes a hidden decision. Will this surplus strengthen the system or weaken it? For example, imagine you receive a bonus, a tax refund, overtime income, or side hustle income. That surplus could become emergency liquidity, investment capital, debt reduction, education, business formation, or future income-producing assets. Or it could become upgraded consumption, recurring obligations, depreciating lifestyle assets, or permanent fixed cost expansion. One path increases future flexibility, the other compresses it. This is one of the biggest structural differences between households. Some households consume nearly all surplus immediately. Others convert surplus into future productive capacity. And this creates compounding differences over time. Income increases, lifestyle expands, fixed costs rise, financial rigidity increases, dependency increases, and optionality shrinks. Then the household becomes more vulnerable to layoffs, recessions, inflation, interest rate increases, or emergencies. On the other hand, income increases, surplus gets stored or invested, liquidity increases, productive assets increase, future cash flow potential increases, optionality expands, fragility declines. Now notice something important. Both households may have identical incomes, but the system behavior becomes radically different. Liquidity is one of the most misunderstood concepts in personal finance. Most people view liquidity as cash sitting idle, but structurally, liquidity creates time, and time creates decision-making flexibility. Liquidity allows a household to survive shocks, avoid panic decisions, avoid high-interest debt, avoid forced asset sales, and preserve negotiating power. This is incredibly important because financially fragile households often lose optionality first before they lose money. Once liquidity disappears, stress rises, decision quality declines, financing dependence increases, and structural pressures compound. That's why surplus conversion into liquidity is not wasted potential, it is stability engineering. Now let's divide surplus deployment into two categories. Productive deployment. This increases future cash flow, future flexibility, or future resilience. Examples include investments, business assets, education, debt reduction, emergency funds, income diversification, productive software tools, systems that save time or reduce future cost. These forms of deployment strengthen future system capability. On the other hand, consumptive deployment. This primarily increases immediate enjoyment, status signaling, or recurring obligations. Some examples include luxury upgrades, recurring subscriptions, high carrying cost assets, oversized financing and commitments, lifestyle inflation. Now, this does not mean consumption is bad. The issue is balance. The real question becomes how much surplus is being converted into future resilience versus immediate consumption. That ratio quietly shapes long-term financial outcomes. This is where the framework becomes extremely important. High income can actually hide fragility, because income can temporarily mask weak liquidity, excessive leverage, high fixed costs, and structural inefficiency. A household earning $300,000 per year may actually be more fragile than a household earning $90,000 per year. Why, you might ask? Because fragility is not determined by income alone. It's determined by liquidity, leverage, fixed obligations, dependency, and surplus conversion efficiency. Some households essentially become high-income cash flow machines with no resilience. The moment income slows, the structure destabilizes. This is why many people feel financially trapped despite earning large incomes. The issue is not income generation. The issue is structural conversion. The most important idea in this episode is this. Surplus creates future freedom only if it is converted properly. Because surplus can become resilience, optionality, productive assets, time, negotiating power, and future decision-making freedom. That is why strong financial systems often feel calm, not flashy. Strong systems are usually liquid, adaptable, flexible, and structurally resilient. Weak systems often look impressive externally while hiding enormous internal pressure. This is one of the most important distinctions in modern personal finance. Notice what we've built across this season. We started with financial statements, leverage, liquidity, solvency, and system behavior. Then we moved into behavioral cash flow analysis. Now we can finally see the deeper issue. Behavior determines whether surplus strengthens the system or weakens it. This becomes the bridge into forecasting, because forecasting is ultimately about understanding where the system is going before it gets there. If high income alone created financial strength, then high income households would never struggle. But they do, constantly, because financial resilience is not created by income alone. It is created by how efficiently surplus gets converted into liquidity, resilience, productive capacity, and future optionality. And that changes the goal of personal finance completely. The goal is no longer maximize visible consumption. The goal becomes design a system that preserves future freedom.